What if I told you? You can now, with the newest update of WebOS on your LG C4 and G4, you can now get AI upscaling in your gaming when using Cinema Home, Vivid, and all the other modes. So, this game is running at, I think it's definitely sub 720p, so below 720p, and it's running at a very stable 60 FPS. That means that we can now get motion interpolation, 144 FPS, AI upscaled amazingness from this game. So, boom. There we go. Holy shit. Okay, so 144 FPS. Hell yeah. The sensitivity is pretty slow in this game. I don't know if you can dial it up. This feels amazing. Barely any perceived latency from the inputs at all. Like, it feels amazing. I could definitely play through the entirety of Rage 1 with these settings in check. But how big is the difference in sharpness and fidelity in your games now compared to before? And on, off, on, off, on, off. It's going to look really over sharpened on camera because the iPhone uses a little bit of over sharpening. It's not this crazy sharpened in real life. It looks way more smooth. But now at least you see the difference, right? Look at the clouds. You can definitely see they have been AI upscaled. And they don't break in motion at all. It looks perfectly fine. It does look like the developers went back into the game and used a super cheap AI upscaling method to remaster the game, like Aspire Media did with Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. It is the exact same look, and the fact that the TV can do this, yeah, it's insane, man. I'm gonna show you the settings that I'm using to get this cool effect happening. The most important thing is go into General, AI Service, AI Picture Pro. This needs to be enabled. Very good. Now we're gonna go to Picture. I use Cinema Home. Aspect ratio, original, just scan. Advanced settings. Clarity. 50. So this is very important information. The higher this slide is, from a minimum of 30 and up, you will get higher AI upscaling sharpness. I very much prefer more sharpness, so I do 50. This is super aggressive AI upscaling. So off will remove a lot of the aliasing, but it will also make it look less upscaled. High makes everything look way more cartoonified, essentially. So if the cartoonification is way too much for you, you can turn this off and it looks still upscaled, but not as much. However, I think it looks great at like medium, low. I would still prefer, for now at least, to use it on high. But my recommendation, if you think it's too much, just turn it off. So then we have a very cool thing with noise reduction that actually works perfectly fine now at low without any fizzling artifacts in motion when using motion interpolation. So you can now, if you have a little bit of fizzling with pixelation artifacts in games, you can turn this to low and it will remove it and stabilize the entire image. MPEG noise reduction and smooth gradation, I turn those off because they don't actually do anything. True motion, user selection, de-judder 10, de-blur 10, do not use OLED motion. You can ask me why in the comments and I will sublime you with the answer. So in brightness, we do OLED pixel brightness 100, adjust contrast 100, black level 50 all the way down to 38 is perfectly fine. Auto dynamic contrast off, dynamic tone mapping on, expression enhancer off, peak brightness high, and the video range on at least PlayStation 3 is full. Colors, I use 80 and I use native as color gamut. I have fine-tuned colors turned off. And on white balance I do 0. It's only because for some reason the video signal on my PS3 to the TV looks very green, yellow, orange when I do warm 50. So I don't like that at all. I love warm 50 on PS5 and in movies, but not on the PlayStation 3. It looks really weird. So yeah, those are essentially all settings you need to care about. But how do you get HDR brightness on PlayStation 3? Because it's not HDR. You're gonna hover on HDR select mode or it's not gonna say HDR for you, but you're gonna, on the controller, you're gonna type on the numpad 11131111. Now inside of here, you're gonna do HLG. It's gonna be on auto. Then you're gonna switch to HLG, and you will see how the AI upscaling becomes way more aggressive. And then BT601. It's done. Now you have HDR and you have corrected the colors. Now make sure when this is done that you put in the settings that I told you guys about, because it's going to reset to HDR settings now. So make sure that AI upscaling on AI service is turned on, and you're not using AI brightness settings and AI genre, because those are gonna ruin the image with the gamma and brightness and stuff. You might get black rays with this one and this one, so don't use them. I don't recommend them at all, at least for now. They might become better in the future, but for now, those are the settings. Now, let's try out another game. Let's try out... Okay, so Grand Theft Auto 4 running on PlayStation 3. This game is probably a really good case, actually. A case study to kind of compare and talk about how big is the difference in general, because this game is probably like the blurriest game on PlayStation 3 by far, and it's the worst with the frame rate as well. However, with AI Picture Pro on, it actually saves the game a lot. It's now running at like 40 to 50 to 60 FPS, so it is higher. Sometimes I've seen it running at a stable 60. It's all like the most thing that matters here is not the... It's like the base frame rate in the game, right? So if the base frame rate in the game is super low, then we're not gonna get super good frame rate either way. But I'm just gonna drive around a little bit here to kind of show you the motion fluidity. And as you can see, it stutters. So the issue with this game is frame pacing, or frame times, or rather, I guess. It's a better way to explain it that way. If the frame times are not stable and they are jumping all over the place, the game will still judder even with motion interpolation. However, I can tell you, man, it does look higher resolution, but it does look cartoonified, as I said. So I wouldn't sit this close when I play my games on this console, which I don't either way. Oh, that's a cop car, so I'm gonna move my car. I sit like 3 meters away, and from 3 meters away, holy shit, what's going on with my brain today? 3 meters away from the TV, it looks like 1440p upscaled at 40 to 50 FPS, this game. So it looks a little bit, if you don't have an LG C4, so you don't understand how this looks and you can't compare, it looks a little bit like FSR 1. And a balance between performance and quality mode. Like it's very dependent on the source material. How sharp is the game to begin with? Then it's gonna look even better upscaled. So I would actually want more brightness in the game before I do a comparison here. Because the more brightness the TV has, the better it's going to AI upscale the image. So let's do a comparison. So here we go. We have the original image, which does look very blurry. We're gonna zoom in. And then we have the upscaled image. And you can see it does become cartoonified. We even get like texture enhancement on the street. So it does definitely look upscaled. The entire game goes from looking like extremely blurry to definitely playable. I'm gonna take it a little further away so you get a wider picture here. You can see the entire image does become way sharper. However, the pixelation around cars and stuff, they don't disappear. So noise reduction is very good to kind of dial down the fizzling artifacts. It will make it very, very clean in image. So, how does other games look with these settings? Because now, here's the thing. Now we have talked about how the games look and like how important it is that the frame times are good in order for it to be smooth in motion, right? So the biggest thing is the lower resolution content it is natively like running on the output resolution inside of the game, the worse the experience is going to be for you when using these modes. However, if it is 30 FPS locked or 60 FPS locked, 30 FPS locked is going to give you 60 FPS and above. You're probably going to see 70 to 80 FPS. And if you have 60 FPS, you're going to have 100 FPS all the way up to 144 FPS in motion. And the motion clarity is going to be super good. So the motion perception, I don't have the controller so I can't move around right now, but it will be insane. Now, as I said, this game is the worst case scenario. So how does it work in a game that runs at 720p locked with 30 FPS locked? So you can see it in motion, right? 30 FPS, it looks horrible. Then we turn this on, 60 FPS. Frame times are perfect, so we get a perfect 60 FPS in motion. This is actually higher than 60 FPS. Well, it's hard to say what it is. It's probably 77 or 80 or something like that. Like, it's fluctuating a little bit. It looks very amazing, at least. That's, like, definitely easy. So, I'm gonna compare with upscaling off and on now for you guys, so that you can actually see like the big differences here. So, I think this is a good angle. We're gonna zoom in right here. And so, essentially, look at the lines of the helmet, the lines there, and like everything essentially. And then we turn off upscaling, and you can see how it looks so blurry and smudgy. It doesn't look good at all. And then it looks drawn, yes, but it looks way better. And as I said, from a distance, this looks amazing. It looks really good. You don't really see that it's drawn from afar, so it looks really good. But it does look a lot like FSR1. But the whole thing about having FSR1, but it isn't FSR1, but the whole thing about having FSR1 baked into the TV to be injected to any games on console, like that's that's very cool. And being able to get 60 FPS as well. I think you can see in this game definitely that it's drawn, like the skybox in the background there, the like the backdrop of the game. It's definitely drawn from the beginning as well, but it was really low resolution. Now with the upscaling, it becomes so egregiously obvious that it's drawn that it looks exactly like classic collection from Star Wars. But yeah, as I said, guys, it's very cool to be able to play with this. I don't know if I would use it. I would definitely use it for all PlayStation 3 games and Nintendo Switch and all of that, but I don't think I would use this at all for PlayStation 5. For Bloodborne, I would definitely use this, because I can get like a subpar 60 FPS instead of 30, and I would get this nice upscaling, so it would add in details where there otherwise were none before. So yeah, definitely, and you can see the big difference here. But the thing is, like, which settings should you be using? Because you can dial down the sharpness, right? You don't have to have this much upscaling. You might not even like how it looks. So you can turn off high resolution, and you can see how it becomes way more soft. You can turn off noise reduction, which actually might be better in this game. But I'm gonna leave it on. And you can lower the sharpness to all the way down to 30. Below 30, as I said before, you lose the upscaling almost completely. So I wouldn't go below 30. I always recommend to use as much sharpness as possible until you have artifacts in the image. But to me, honestly, it's hard to say. I would probably, in the long run, if I don't want to go in and adjust settings all the time, I wouldn't use super resolution at all. But some games on PlayStation 3 look really good with super resolution on medium or high, and noise reduction on low. So in those combinations, you get a very, very stable, good looking image compared to the original, which is very fuzzy and blurry. So it's up to you. You can try this out for yourself. And let me know if you like it. It's a new update on LG C4 and G4. And you can now get AI upscaling on your games. And then, as I said, 60 FPS looks amazing and the latency is super low. It's very nice. There you can see the FPS dropped because the game probably dropped a lot of frames. It went below 60. So no, but yeah. I recommend you guys to try this out. And if this is nothing for you, at least I'm really glad that you watched through the video all the way to here. And let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.